Worst Canadian cities by crime rate. As any law and order addict knows, there are two groups that protect and represent the people: the police who investigate crimes, and the district attorney who prosecutes the offenders. These are not their stories, however. Instead, we're here to focus on the nastier side of that story, namely, the cities where these crimes occur. Violent crime rates are a huge factor when determining where you want to move or visit, and understandably so. Washington, D.C., Chicago, and Detroit for years had to fight against their public image as some of the most violent and crime-ridden areas in the United States, with notable improvements in several areas. As they say, the first step in solving a problem is admitting you have one. So let this serve less as a list for public province shaming and more as a rehabilitative one. That being said, let's dive in and take a look at the most violent cities in Canada, according to the Crime Severity Index. 5. Edmonton. Edmonton has been seeing some tough times of late, and we're not just talking about the Oilers. Really, how many first-round draft picks are they going to get? Unfortunately, Edmonton's crime rate is about as stagnant as their hockey team. The city has had a persistent problem with violent crime, especially sex-based crimes, such as sexual assault, aggravated sexual assault, and sexual violations against children. That being said, Edmonton's overall crime index rating is only 89.7, far lower than the others on this list. 4. Regina. Regina ranks rather highly, or lowly depending on how you look at it, when it comes to the overall violent crime in Canada. It's been trading places with Saskatoon the past few years, checking in with 105.8 crime index rating. On the other hand, that's definitely far too high and hurts what is otherwise one of the more underrated settlement destinations in Canada. On the other hand, however, as Regina ranks just below Saskatoon this year, the latter loss is the former's gain, as it can now report a drop in crime, at least in that context. Let's hope that continues into the future, rather than rumours of potential spikes that have been reported in the last year. 3. Saskatoon. Saskatoon's placement on this list is something of a good news, bad news situation. Let's get the latter out of the way first, so we can end this section on a good note. The bad news? A violent crime index rating of 109.9. The city has flipped back and forth with Regina, see above, in the overall rankings, and has sometimes even found itself at the ignominious top of its standings. In the NHL, that wins you the President's Trophy. In the war on crime, that wins you an incredible amount of scrutiny. Thankfully, however, there are signs that Saskatoon is trying hard indeed to improve its record and reputation. In 2013, the mayor announced that the overall violent crime in Saskatoon had dropped 9%, and there are hopes that that trend can continue. 2. Thunder Bay. Thunder Bay, with a 110.9 crime index rating, lands next on our list. While it ranks 8th in overall crime, the CBC reported that it's the second most violent city in Canada. Sadly, that rating isn't a one-off incident either. In 2012, the homicide rate was higher in Thunder Bay than in any other major metropolitan area in Canada. Not exactly something you'd want to put on your travel brochures. To the city's credit, those in power have been trying to fix the problems for some time now. Economic issues may again be at fault, as traditional manufacturing industries are evaporating from the Thunder Bay scene, and grain subsidies and issues regarding the transportation industry have hit the city as well. That being said, the overall unemployment rate isn't nearly as poor as other regions of Canada. 1. Winnipeg. Winnipeg earns the ignominious title on our list as the most violent major city in Canada, with a 119.9 rating. That being said, while Winnipeg tops our list of the most violent cities in Canada, its place here is unique insofar as most of Winnipeg does pretty well rating-wise. As recently as 2012, 80 of the 200-plus neighbourhoods in Winnipeg didn't report one robbery. Think about that for a moment. Not one. That's not just impressive, it's commendable, and worth giving Winnipeg some serious points for. The western, eastern and southern portions of the city are, relatively speaking, far cleaner, if not entirely squeaky clean. But then again, how many places truly are? Instead, crime in Winnipeg is highly concentrated in the northern portion, wherein sexual assault, rape and other forms of violent crime are as rampant as anywhere in Canada. What's more, that old stereotype of Canadians being more polite and good-natured than we loudmouth Yanks, there may be some broader cultural truth to that, and Canada in general enjoys a much lower crime rate than we do here in the States. But for all of that, the notorious neighbourhoods which make up the north-central portion of Winnipeg, from South Point Douglas to West Broadway, reported double the crime rate of Compton, California, in 2012. Compton, as any SoCal native knows, Compton is one of the most hard-hit areas economically in California, and likewise has a reputation as one of the roughest and yes, most violent areas, not just in the Golden State, but the United States as a whole. And north-central Winnipeg, with half the population, has Compton beat so far as robberies are concerned, and that is something to be concerned about. Most of Winnipeg, as stated above, ranks very low on the crime index, and the city as a whole is enjoying something of a renaissance. Let's hope north-central Winnipeg can enjoy a rebirth and a new, more peaceful beginning in the future as well. All of these locations have problems with violent crime, but all at least have some glimmer of hope. Let's hope that serves as a beacon for future improvement, lest these otherwise fine locales suffer from their distinction of being some of the most violent cities in Canada. All crime rate information from Stats Can, Crime Index from 2013.